We're jumping into a really interesting event in the Book of Mormon today.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's in the Book of Moroni, chapter 2.
Okay.
And it's about the power that Jesus gave to his 12 Nephite disciples to give the Holy Ghost.
Yeah, this is really significant.
Yeah.
It's about how Christ set up his church and how his authority continues on, through his ordained servants.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that it happens right at the beginning.
Right.
Like right away in the first couple verses of Moroni chapter 2, Jesus tells his disciples how to do it.
Yeah, let's read those verses.
Yeah, let's read verses 1 and 2.
Sounds good.
Okay, so it says, "And he called them by name, saying, Ye shall call on the Father in my name in mighty prayer, and after ye have done this, ye shall have power that to him upon whom ye shall lay your hands, ye shall give the Holy Ghost, and in my name shall ye give it, for thus do mine apostles."
Wow.
So it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, he's giving them the instructions right there.
Yeah, it's very similar to what we see with the original 12 apostles.
Exactly.
It shows that this power to give the Holy Ghost is an authority that comes from Jesus.
Yeah, it's not just some random ability that they have. It's like a sacred authority passed out directly from Christ.
It's interesting, too, because this is during Jesus' first appearance to the Nephites, right?
Right.
But in verse 3, it says that the multitude couldn't hear Jesus' words.
Oh, wow.
Only the disciples could hear him. What do you think about that?
I think it's really fascinating.
Yeah.
I've heard some scholars say that maybe Jesus was speaking directly to their minds.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
Yeah, like only the disciples were spiritually prepared to hear him at that point.
Yeah, or maybe there was like a spiritual barrier there.
Oh, a barrier.
Yeah, that prevented the multitude from understanding.
Interesting.
Kind of like when Moses went up on Mount Sinai,
Oh, yeah.
the Israelites couldn't come up with him.
Right.
Only Moses could because he was, prepared for that experience.
So maybe only certain people can handle certain spiritual things. Right. And it depends on their spiritual readiness.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the disciples hear Jesus,
Yeah.
verse 3 goes on to say that the Holy Ghost fell upon all those who received the laying on of hands.
Wow. So the Holy Ghost came upon them.
Yeah.
That's really powerful.
Yeah, and the laying on of hands is a really important part of that.
Yeah, it's an act that has so much symbolism and meaning.
What do you mean?
Well, think about the Old Testament when they would make sacrifices. The person making the sacrifice would lay their hands on the animal's head.
Right.
And that was a way of transferring their sins to the animal.
Oh, I see.
But here the disciples are laying their hands on people's heads to give them the Holy Ghost.
It's like they're transferring a blessing instead of a sin.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful image.
And then how does the Holy Ghost manifest itself?
Well, it can be different for different people.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a really quiet feeling of peace.
Right.
Sometimes it's a feeling of warmth. Other times it's like a burst of inspiration or even a warning to avoid danger.
I know, I've definitely felt that before.
It's important to learn how to recognize the Spirit's voice, however it speaks to us.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing is that this gift of the Holy Ghost,
Yeah.
it's available to everyone today.
Yeah, just like it was back then.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
Well, this has been an awesome discussion.
I agree.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Moroni chapter 2.
It's been a pleasure.
And be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more conversations just like this. Thanks for listening.